In the ancient world, there was once a face so terrible that a single glance could turn a living person into stone. Warriors avoided it, kings feared it, even heroes approached it with caution. Her name was Medusa. But long before she became the monster of legend, Medusa was something else entirely. She was once human. And the story of how she became the most feared creature of Greek mythology is not only a tale of monsters and heroes, but also a story about power, punishment, and transformation. In the mythology of ancient Greece, there were three sisters known as the Gorgons. Their names were Athena, Euryale, and Medusa. They were daughters of the ancient sea deities, Phorcys and Ceto, and beings from a time before the Olympian gods ruled the world. Two of the sisters, Athena and Euryale, were immortal. But Medusa was different. She was mortal. And in some versions of the myth she was also once beautiful. According to later traditions, Medusa served as a priestess in the temple of Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war. Priestesses of Athena were expected to live lives of purity and devotion. Medusa was said to possess extraordinary beauty, especially her hair, golden, shining, and admired by many. But beauty in myth, as in life, often attracts attention, and sometimes that attention brings disaster. One day the sea god Poseidon entered Athena's temple. Poseidon was one of the most powerful gods of Olympus. In some versions of the myth, he desired Medusa, and in the sacred temple of Athena he forced himself upon her. The temple was desecrated, but the anger of the goddess didn't fall upon Poseidon. Instead it fell upon Medusa. Athena, the guardian of the temple, punished the priestess. Medusa's beauty vanished, her shining hair twisted into living snakes. Her face became so terrible that no mortal could look upon it without turning instantly to stone. Even her eyes carried the power of destruction. From that moment on, Medusa was no longer human. She became one of the Gorgons, a creature feared throughout the world. And so she fled from human lands. Medusa and her sisters lived far away, at the edge of the known world. Ancient writers describe their home as a dark and desolate place. There, stone statues fill the landscape. Warriors, adventurers, heroes. All of them had come seeking glory, but all of them had looked directly at Medusa, and none of them had survived. Years later, a young hero named Perseus was given a dangerous task. The king Polydictes demanded that Perseus bring him the head of Medusa. It was a mission designed to be impossible. No one could face Medusa, but Perseus wasn't alone. The gods themselves decided to help him. Athena gave Perseus a polished bronze shield, bright as a mirror. The messenger god Hermes gave him a curved sword. Other divine gifts followed. A magical bag to carry the head safely, winged sandals that allowed him to fly, and the helmet of Hades, which could make him invisible. With these gifts, Perseus set out to confront the monster no one had ever defeated. When Perseus finally reached the lair of the Gorgons, he did something no warrior before him had done. He didn't look at Medusa directly. Instead, he watched her reflection in Athena's shield. The Gorgons were sleeping. Moving carefully, Perseus approached. The snakes on Medusa's head hissed softly in the darkness. Then in a single motion, Perseus raised his sword and struck. Medusa's head fell. Even in death, Medusa's story didn't end. From her severed body sprang two beings. The winged horse, Pegasus, who would later become one of the most famous creatures of Greek myth, and Chrysaor, a warrior of golden strength. Both were children of Poseidon. Born at the moment Medusa died. Perseus placed Medusa's head inside the magical bag. Though she was dead, the power of her gaze remained. Anyone who looked upon it still turned to stone. With this weapon, Perseus escaped the island and began his journey home. Along the way, the head of Medusa would be used more than once to defeat enemies, to stop monsters, and to save innocent lives. Eventually, Perseus gave the head of Medusa to Athena. The goddess placed it upon her shield, the Aegis. There it remained a symbol of both protection and terror, a reminder that even the most powerful force in the world can emerge from tragedy. For centuries, Medusa has been remembered as a monster, a creature whose face brought death. But some later thinkers have asked a different question. Was Medusa truly a monster from the beginning, or was she a victim who became something terrible through punishment and transformation? The ancient myths do not give a clear answer. They simply tell the story and leave the meaning for us to decide. So when we hear the name Medusa, we often imagine a creature of horror. But behind the snakes and the stone may lie something else. A story about power, about justice, and about how easily a human life can be transformed into legend. And perhaps the real question is not why Medusa became a monster, but why her story still fascinates us thousands of years later.